welcome to Biblio Madness, a podcast for book lovers where we discuss our current and favorite reads. I'm your host, Laken.
And I'm your host, Rachel. And today we're discussing a fun and holiday-themed book. So, happy holidays, Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, because today is Christmas when this episode is going out. So, very on theme for us currently for the book that we're talking about. We are going over Lovelight Frames by B.K. Borison.
Yeah, I think so.
I got that last name correct. I got the A-OK from Laken. So this book is about two best friends fake dating to reach their holiday happily ever after. In the first romantic comedy in the Lovelight series is what we found out. This is a series of 4 books, but this one particularly takes place in a Christmas tree farm that is sadly being kind of sabotaged, running out of money. Yeah. It's a new business that's not succeeding, and the main character is trying to keep the business up. So Stella entered into a contest, randomly, gave a fun story about the farm's background and how it was established, what turns out to not be how it was established.
Yeah, she lied on her application and said that she bought the farm with her
boyfriend, which she is very single and has been for a while. So, she did win the contest, and this is what this book is placed over, is her trying to convince the influencer who created the contest that she has a boyfriend, and is trying to romanticize the farm, which, may I say, the location and the place of this farm is freaking adorable. So it's a great holiday pickup. If you haven't read the book, we are going to be going over the details of the book. Highly suggest you go and pick this book up. If you got it for Christmas, you are very lucky. So go and read it. It's a one-sit read. I read it literally in a sitting.
I could have read it in a sitting.
I was reading on Goodreads. A lot of people read it in one sitting. So we're going to dive deep into this in the episode. You're going to hear a quick disclaimer, and then we're going to go into the book details. So just a heads up, but very cute, very nice, cozy setting. It's a very great book. We'll get into it. So you're going to hear the podcast disclaimer, and we'll be right back.
This show is intended for mature audiences. Topics of adult content, triggers, and explicit language may be discussed with or without warning. All thoughts and opinions belong to our hosts and do not reflect the original creator's own intentions. Spoilers for the book will be discussed, and while most discussion will revolve around the picked book, we do not guarantee there will be no spoiler warnings for other books or series. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, welcome back, everybody. You had the fun disclaimer. We had to put it in there. Spoilers. Going into this book, I kind of went over it a little bit in the intro, but it is a pasture of dead trees, basically, is what
There was one part of
it's just
the farm that had a pasture of dead trees.
Yep. So, super fun. Her farm is going under. She owns a Christmas tree farm. She bought it from, what was the guy's name? Do you remember? Was it David? Hank?
I remember it being... So, the way this book was written, and maybe it's because, we have a lot of Christmas tree farms around where we live, I immediately pictured this in, a southern setting.
Okay.
Only to find out that it is not. It is in New England.
Yeah.
So
everything's in New England. You should have figured that out by now.
Yeah.
All books are placed in New England. All of them.
I still read a lot of these people with southern accents, though, and maybe that's just... That's just me.
My brain did not do that.
Well, you don't have that experience.
I'm not southern.
You're not southern and you didn't grow up on a Christmas tree farm.
No, so this book real touch home for Laken.
Definitely.
Not for I, though.
It had a very, very special place in my heart because of that.
Was it Hank? Where did it go?
It's Hank. I know it was Hank. I remember that.
I swear it was in the beginning of the book.
It was. He's mentioned a few times through the book.
But it was in the first chapter.
Yes.
Zucchini. Was Hank? Yes, Hank failed to mention.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to give some financial background to this book, because that is the big...
Yeah, the whole thing is that she's having
financial issues. So Hank failed to mention he stopped paying his bills months ago on the farm, and as the new owner, I inherited all his debt. Mm-hmm. So great thing about Stella is she was paying all of her people. She never let the people not get paid.
I really enjoyed Stella as a character.
She was great.
A good person.
I think sometimes she was a little bit childish.
A little bit,
but I did appreciate her as a character, and she cared deeply about the farm and about the people she had working for her. And honestly, I did love the side characters too. I loved all the characters. It was a great book for that. The characters were amazing. The storyline was great. It kept you intrigued. We talked about this when we were talking about the books we were reading, and I don't remember what episode that was. It was a while back. It's like 3 episodes ago. Yeah. We were talking about the description of this book, and we were going over fake dating. That is a big plot line of this book because
it's like the whole plot.
yeah, basically. The contest was based off of her having a boyfriend and having the farm together with her boyfriend, which she didn't have, so she had to find one. She originally asked Beckett
as a last ditch. What? So
first, before asking.
First ask Beckett Luca. Because she didn't want to ask who she had in mind for this, because she's been in love with her best friend for 9 years,
which is such a long time.
Yes, it is a very long time. And so she had convinced herself that, like, things were never going to happen between them. It was totally unrequited love because they've been friends for 9 years. If something was going to happen, it should have happened. You know? And so she didn't want to ask him because she was embarrassed and, and hesitant about what feelings it would make her have to fake date her best friend. Yeah. So she did ask Beckett first.
Which Beckett was very, like,
this
no, man.
Book had some of the best, like, I feel like, conversational relationships with the characters. Like, I found myself laughing and smiling throughout so much of this book.
That's fair. I will say this book was very much so small town Christmas tree farm. It was so happy.
It says romantic comedy, and that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
It was, I've laughed so hard, like, though, when, at the very beginning, when she asked him to be her boyfriend, and he was like, are you proposition?
Oh, yeah, okay, so I'm a side character bitch, across the board.
I'm excited for his book. I really enjoyed him.
I really liked Beckett in the book. He was very offstandish. He is the traditionally super handsome character that all the girls are like, oh my god, I love you, and he's like, stop.
He's like,
I've
scared
had
of the
enough.
women.
Okay, you're gonna do something, you're gonna make me upset, I don't want the heartbreak.
Yeah.
So he just doesn't with anybody, no matter who you are. And she asked, Stella was like, well, I have, like, do you want to be my boyfriend?
She literally just asked him, do you want to be my boyfriend? No context.
No context at all. He had no idea about the contest. He had nothing. He was like, what?
He's so uncomfortable.
He's like, he's so shy. It was so cute. So I'm so excited. Being that this is a 4-book series, he is the next book's main character. So I'm very excited to see what girl pulls him out, or if it's a guy, what guy pulls him out. But I'm pretty sure it's a girl because it was a girl on the cover.
I thought it was going to be the girl that was mentioned in here, because we do find out that he had, like, a one-night stand with a character in the book that comes back. And I'm wondering if it's going to be her, because I feel like there's more there. There could be a story. So, we'll see. But I'm excited for his book, because I did enjoy him as a character a lot.
I'm reading, we'll talk about it in a second. Okay. So, I don't know. The book was so cozy. It's a very nice Christmas.
It was very wholesome.
Wholesome book.
That's the word that kept coming to my mind as reading.
And I'm not going to lie. Luca did make it to the book boyfriend shelf very quickly.
Oh my god, yes.
Golden Retriever vibes across the board for him.
He's Italian. He cooks for her all the time.
It was adorable. There is some spice in this book.
Yeah.
Just a heads up, if you're a non-spice reader, there is spice in this book. If you are a spice reader, it's like a level 2.53.
It's not a lot.
It's not a lot. It's not like high fantasy smut.
It's like a couple chapters, if that.
It's not as bad as Colleen Hoover, in my opinion.
No.
It's pretty chill. It's like a 2.
The thing about the book is that was the climax.
Yes.
No pun intended.
No pun intended on that one.
The tension between them is what most of the book was playing on.
Yeah.
Which I thoroughly enjoyed. I loved the relationship between Luca and Stella.
Yes.
And I don't know. I feel like it was very glaringly obvious from the very beginning that Luca had feelings for her.
I agree.
Like, there's something she would describe as him, like, looking at her, and I'm like, a man does not look at you that way if he does not love you. Like,
yes.
Come on, girl.
But you're also in the mind of her, so she might be misinterpreting how he's looking at her.
I mean, I know, we do find that out, like, that she was like, totally writing off every interaction because she could not believe that he was in love with her. But, like, it was so obvious as, like, an outsider. And I just wanted to be like...
Can you...
I'm too far away from my mic, aren't I?
Yeah. I was like, can you do me a favor and just, like...
I'm leaning
Maybe we need to pull the table closer to us. There you go. How about that? Is that better?
That's good for me.
We sit applesauce crisscross here. We don't really sit on a couch, so she's gonna be mad at me. It's supposed to be crisscross applesauce, but that's not how I say it. And she rolled her eyes, and I could see it. I could feel it. So, my apologies for that one. Applesauce crisscross in my world, but I get ridiculed by you and my husband.
I don't ridicule you.
You laugh and you roll your eyes. What is it? Mauve?
Mauve.
Mauve.
I forgot how you say it already.
Mauve. Just mauve, man. No extra syllables.
Okay, I get it. Fine.
Okay.
Touche.
So, my iPad. Why? My iPad froze. I was trying to look at notes. So, besides Luca and Beckett and Stella, which Beckett's not really important. He's very much so a side character. He is the tender to the trees and the farms. And then the baker's name was Layla. Yes, it's Layla and Luca. My brain did not like that. But Layla is the baker, kind of doing all the cooking, Christmas cookies, all that fun stuff for the farm. And she's like a restaurant kind of ish person. Because she hired her from somewhere else. She found her somewhere else and picked her up.
Yeah, she did.
Trying to go back to the beginning of the book. I read this very quickly, so
I don't remember where she picked her up either, but I know that she had something of Layla's and was immediately like, "You're coming to work for me."
Yep. So, Layla's in the book, and then we get some added people in, and then the other character we have is Ellie, right?
Evelyn.
Is it?
Are you talking about the Instagrammer or the social media girl?
Evelyn's in there, but there's another one called Ellie.
There's an L, which is...
Is it L?
It's Stella's stepmom.
Is it?
Yeah.
There's too many names that are close to me, because when I think of something, I'm just thinking about, like, the first letter in my brain.
I'm pretty sure it's L. And Charlie is her stepbrother.
Yes.
Well, not stepbrother, her half-brother.
And
she has a complicated
And then there's Dane, but he's...
the sheriff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of townspeople, because this is a small town setting, so there is, like, very intimate.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows everybody, and everybody's in everybody's business.
Yeah. So, like, Gilmore Girls setting, because that is also a New England area. It's in New Haven, I believe.
It never says exactly where this is, unless Inglewild is an actual place. I didn't actually look that up.
I can look it up.
But it's 23 minutes from Delaware. I know that. Because they mention it in the book.
What was the name of it?
Inglewild?
Inglewild is a place.
Oh, is it?
But it's Colorado.
Oh, that's not it. Wrong side of the country. Yeah, it never says exactly like what state they're in, but I know they're outside of Delaware.
Oh, Inglewood, Shannon, New York. They have one.
Is it in New York?
There's quite a few places.
They were like 3 to 4 hours away from New York City, wherever they are.
Yes, it is in New York.
Right outside of Delaware. So.
Don't see Delaware. Where the hell is Delaware?
I don't know where Delaware is.
Delaware is not. No.
I don't know. I just remember she said it was close to Delaware.
Delaware is...
It could be a completely made up place.
What Delaware? Delaware is near, like, New Jersey, Philadelphia.
Connecticut? Right? We're gonna sound like we don't know anything.
Delaware, PA, or Ohio, or Denver? Which Delaware?
It's not Ohio.
Well, is it PA or DE?
Delaware...
Or MD?
Is its own state.
It's not coming up on my map.
Delaware is its own state.
If Delaware is near New Jersey, then. If I'm not mistaken.
Why is Connecticut coming to my mind?
There's a lot of Delaware cities. Delaware is near New Jersey.
I was thinking the state when she
It's
said
very
it.
pretty, though.
Because it's on the ocean. Where is that? Delaware?
That's Delaware. Delaware is on the ocean. It's next to New Jersey. That's Delaware. You see? Just see?
I see.
Just see? Because Delaware connects to Maryland, which connects to Virginia. All right, on a non-geographical standpoint, this doesn't really matter. This is gonna get cut out, but it did make me want to change my background.
Oh, to the pine trees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went from strawberries to pine trees.
So I had like we briefly mentioned in the intro, my grandparents owned a Christmas tree farm. Pretty much my entire life. They sold it a couple years ago. I actually have a tattoo dedicated to it though.
Where is it?
Right there.
Oh yeah.
It's in my evergreen in the middle of the mountains because their farm was in the middle of the mountains. This book filled me with such a sense of like nostalgia. It almost hurt.
Oh no.
I missed it so much. I wish like I had been more of a like knowledgeable adult.
Yeah.
When they decided to sell their farm, because after like reading all of these ideas and stuff of how she like saved this farm, I was like, well, we could have incorporated so much more to make it like more of a profitable thing. But it is what it is.
Farms are hard to run. I think it's a very underrated thing. Like people are like, oh, I'll just become a farmer. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's not.
I know. It's like it's not that easy. You need a backtrack. There's farm. There's animals. There's food. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot. Props to Stella for pulling it off, though. I mean, obviously she didn't do it by herself. No. She had help from Beckett. A lot of help from Beckett.
I was like, Beckett was.
He's very passionate about his
crops.
His job.
He's farming. At the beginning, he was like, "This is the most easy thing to tend, but why?
Yeah.
Is it this difficult at the same time?"
It's true though.
Oh jeez.
I don't know. I had a lot of respect for her although she could be like you said, she was a little childish in some things, but like the fact that she pulled herself up by her bootstraps and she was still taking care of the people that were in her charge.
Her character was really great. I just appreciated the small towniness. The fake dating was done very well. The romantic relationship was done well. It makes me want to read her next book.
Yes.
So I think overall, for like a rating, definitely for me, at least a 4.
I would say it was like 4.5
for a rom-com.
I'm hesitant to give it a 5, although I'm kind of tempted, so I might stick with a solid 4.5. Because I told her as soon as we got here that like I was tempted to already reread this book.
Which that's a big thing to say about a Christmas book.
It is.
Okay.
I really liked it. I told Ryan about this book, and I was like, I love this book. I was like, it's kind of like Hallmarky, but I absolutely like love it. And he's like, oh, you're getting really old if you're like a Hallmark.
It's not. It's Hallmarky if you make it. What makes Hallmark movies, in my opinion, music, actors, setting, and the way the characters are portraying. So there was a new thing that came out on Netflix. It's like the Walter Boys or whatever. I think that's what it was called. And I watched it, and if you're an adult, it's not worth it.
No hate to anybody that loves Hallmark movies. The reason I don't like them is because the dialogue feels really forced and really cheesy.
You're about to see what I was going to say, is that whole setting.
Yeah.
The Walter Boys was based off of a book. The book was decent. It was good. It was nothing to say it was bad. But when portrayed by the characters, it's a way they edit the movie. Not only are the actors feeling very pushed to do what they're doing, it's also the way they edit it, where the voice doesn't sound like it's coming from them, and it's coming from behind you, basically.
Yeah.
Which gives it this is kind of cheap.
Yeah.
And it's the editing of the show that's happening.
Yeah.
And the lighting of the show. And those things that people do when they edit TVs and they make TV shows or movies are so overlooked, and they're also the biggest thing. Like, most of the time, the reason movies take forever, filming takes like 3 months. It's the editing and the audio and all of these little things that touch to make something so great. And Hallmark movies, when they do it, it's like the lighting looks like they are candlelit constantly. There's constantly music playing in the background
It's
that's
mainly
low.
the dialogue that bothers
Yeah,
me.
there's forced dialogue that the characters don't look like they're supposed to be saying, and the audio is coming from a different location than where they're standing at in the ground. So your mind looks at it and you're like, I feel like I'm in a this isn't the real world.
Yeah.
It feels fake.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
This felt very real worldish. I felt like
this felt very small town real world.
Mm-hmm.
And not pushed.
Yeah. So without like, talking about like literally every single thing that happens in the book, because we kind of hit on everything I feel like is big.
Yeah.
There was one moment at the very end when the confession is happening.
Yeah.
The big build up to it that we were all waiting for, because like I said, it was very obvious that he was in love with her.
Yes.
So when the confession happened, we had a moment where it seemed like she was going to take the miscommunication route.
Oh, I would have.
I literally closed the book and I looked at Ryan and I said, "No." I said they're gonna do the miscommunication trope. And then I opened the book and I continued reading, and she solved it within the page, and I wanted to cheer because it was, I don't know, just the fact that she let them talk it out like grown adults.
Yeah.
Because they're in their 30s. It was just...
Happy place, you did us dirty.
Take notes, because it was so nice.
And this is
they talked about it, and they resolved it within, like, a couple pages.
Yeah, and you said this was a new writer, right?
Yeah, this is her debut novel, apparently.
First novel. So that speaks volumes to her writing style. We've read a lot of books. I've read a lot of rom-coms.
Yeah.
This was a great pickup for her first book. This is incredible. I'm very excited to see the rest of the series. Did I know this was a series when I picked it up? Absolutely not. I picked this up. I was like, Lovelight Frames. That looks adorable. Read the back. I was like, perfect. This is going to be our Christmas book. I just want one romance kind of comedy that's a good read for Christmas Day to have posted, because we're doing a lot of more fun, like different content versus just book reviews. So I got really excited, and then I was very happy that I picked it up, because this wouldn't have been in our life if I didn't pick it up.
Props to you for picking like the best books, because I feel like all the picks you've had recently have been
I've been doing solid on some book picks. Besides Holly. I really regret that, but that's a personal regret.
It was a good pick in its own way.
It was a good book. It is one of our most viewed podcast episodes.
Yeah.
But
it's a good pick in its own way.
It's so disturbing. My God.
It's so disturbing.
It's so disturbing. I regret that. I picked my worst fear in a book, and it's not like it just grosses me out. My fears are just disgusting. I'm like, wow, that's gross. Don't do that. Don't eat people. That's the last thing you need to do right now. God, like that's worse than anything else.
Yeah. This book definitely served the purpose that we intended it to, though. It made me I don't know, ever since this month started out a little rough for me personally, it was like hard to feel in the holiday mood this year.
Did it get you in the holiday mood?
It did.
That's exciting.
Definitely made me feel more festive. It made me want to go see Christmas Tree Farm again. Yeah. It also made me want an Italian man to cook food.
Also,
because there's a lot of mention of Italian food in this.
And it's not disgusting food. It's great food.
No, it's very good sounding food.
I think you could read this book if you didn't get it on Christmas Day and you do want to read it during the holiday season. I think you could read this from Christmas to New Year's and it would be perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's still a magical time of the year. The Christmas spirit is still there. You're still kind of,
If you take your Christmas decorations down before January 1st, who are you and what are you doing? If you celebrate Christmas, you leave that up until January. Yeah. Period. That's not,
at least until the New Year.
That's not even a question at that point. Who takes their Christmas decorations down that early? Like, that's insane. Unless you're having a New Year's party and you want New Year's stuff up.
I still think a Christmas tree fits in.
I agree. But if you don't celebrate Christmas...
Yeah, this is for people...
This is definitely a Christmas book. In a holiday book.
Yeah.
Because it's all about a Christmas tree farm.
We have all 3 holidays at the end of the year in this book, though. We have Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Although Christmas is the one that it revolves most around.
So, there is that. So, you are getting, like, an encompassing... But I think you could definitely read it for, like, the last week. If you want to go pick it up and you're like, I want to be in the holiday mood.
Definitely a one if you're not a fast reader or you don't have the time to sitting reading. Like, reading. Yeah. It took me 3 sittings, but that's because I have 2 children under 2. And I could not get the time to sit
Hey,
down and read
3
it all.
sittings for 2 under 2 still is a very good reading time.
Yeah. So, and that all those sittings were about like an hour each.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple more hours on some of them.
I should
so.
time myself reading this. It didn't take long. It was like 3 hours. I think like 3
Yeah.
to 4 hours. I read Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover in 3 hours, so I feel like it was similar to that.
Yeah, if you have a good little chunk of time, you know, maybe Christmas night. Like we said, if you get this book for Christmas or you decide to go pick it up after you watch this,
Yeah, like at the airport before you travel to back home.
you could read this Christmas night.
Yeah.
If you don't have plans. Just
Christmas night.
cozy up, read it in the night, and it'd be
Yeah,
perfect ending to it for me. I'm honestly considering rereading this book on Christmas. So.
Hey, look at that. Traveling anywhere you're going, highly recommend. I'm excited to see the rest of her books, though.
I am too.
It made me happy. That's what a book's there to do.
I'm thinking about keeping it for after Crescent City to make myself happy.
The second one?
Probably gonna need it. Yeah.
I have a lot of reading to do to
Yeah, you do.
have the ability to reread books right now. Iron Flame was the exception, but
that was a lot to unpack.
there was too much that happened, and I read it too quickly, so I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, let's take this all back. This is like 200 pages, and
yeah,
it's probably not. It could be less than 200 pages because
it's 300, but yeah.
Oh, 300. Well,
it could probably be 200.
It didn't feel long. It's a very digestible book. Like I said, I give it a 4.5.
Definitely 4 stars for me. Highly recommend. Go pick it up. I don't think we have anything else we want to say about it, just because we don't want to spoil too much, and there's a lot of tension you got to build up. The journey is what it's about. Okay,
yeah.
That's the most important thing about a book. I know some of you are crazy and you read the last page first, and you care about the journey the most. And
honestly, if you were to read the last page in this book, you wouldn't get that much.
No.
You would not.
If you read the last page and the last words in Iron Flame, you would spoil the whole book for yourself. The whole thing. The whole thing would have been spoiled. Easily.
Yeah, I do really like the last page. One of my favorite things when there's romance in a novel. I don't know why I like it. I don't know. I probably should not look too much into why I love it so much. But when we get the male perspective.
Oh, I love the male perspective.
I'll eat that stuff up.
I am so happy that more authors are doing the male perspective at the end of the book. All right. My dogs are howling. So that now means it's the end of the episode. It's real fun.
I've never heard them howl like this.
It's real cute. It's problematic, though. So thank you, everyone, for coming and listening to this Christmas holiday edition of our episode. If you hear my dog howling in the background, please ignore. Have a great holiday season and a happy new year. We'll be coming back with our end of the year wrap up for our next episode in January. So look forward to that. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to see when that episode gets posted. We are also trying to be active on Instagram during the holiday season. It's the holiday season, so bear with us. It's a little slow. We're not doing our best to keep up with social media. There's a lot of family events, a lot of things happening. If you're out there, you understand. A lot of shopping, a lot of holiday traffic.
It's a busy time of the year. We're also doing like a small, I guess, I don't want to say rebranding, but we're changing directions. So our social media posts will also probably be changing a little bit from what we have been doing. So yeah, just bear with us as we're
entering a new year and a new era. So lots of changes coming, but we're excited that you're here and listening. Go pick up Lovelight Frames by BK Borison and get her other books, because I'm very excited. There will be a spot on my shelves for her in the romance section.
Same.
I will definitely be picking up all the other 3. Even if they're not as great as this, they're still going to be great books. I feel like
think they'll be enjoyable.
I still think they're going to be enjoyable. It might not be as nostalgic for you, but it will be a very good one.
But I'm excited.
I'm excited. All right, everybody have a great, happy new year and holiday season. Farewell.